as you've been working with other churches and with other folks and leaders in other denominations and such, have you noticed any shifts in how people are talking about discipleship?
I think the biggest, some of your biggest studies, it came out of the Reveal study out of Willow Creek a number of years ago, but the aspect that just because I go to church doesn't mean that a life change is happening in me, okay? Life change meaning a following of Jesus and looking more like Jesus in my walk day by day. So the aspect of what it means to follow Jesus in our United States recent past looked a lot like I go to church, but not necessarily everything else that went with following Jesus. And so there is definitely, in my limited 25 years in pastoral ministry, there's a greater awareness of that fallacy, that failure, than I've ever heard it articulated. I'm sure in part because of the communication abilities nowadays, but there's definitely a greater awareness of that. And so it comes back to this aspect of how do we create disciples, followers of Jesus who act and look like Jesus? Okay, how do we do that? And not at all when I say how do we as if it's us. I'm not saying that, but how do we participate and make use of the sacraments and the Word of God in a way, in a methodology that leads to men and women, children who look and act more like Jesus. Understanding we're never going to get perfect, we're never going to be there. We're not espousing a holiness theology, and yet how do we mature in the faith, as Paul would say in Ephesians 4? How do we mature and reach that maturity? I think I definitely hear that discussion. That is a very prevalent in U.S. Christianity right now.
Great.
And so I think, small groups, the concept of small groups has been around for at least in a visible way in the church for at least 25, 30 plus years. And as you now in the last 5 years or so, coming out of Mike Breen out of England with his 3D ministries of in, out, and up, the focus of a Christian is fellowship, is external reaching, and then a worship aspect, the in, out, up concept, and Breen has really developed that. And that has really then propagated into the missional community's understanding that you see present today. And I know a number of you are talking and looking at that and what that looks like. And basically meaning, what does it look like to live in community as we are going about the rest of our daily lives in such a way that then reaches my community, the people I work with, the people I'm friends with, the people I already have relationships with. So it's not a matter of you going into a new community and making new friends and trying to reach them. It's a matter of you reaching the people that you're already with. And it's almost a refocusing, you might say, of that effort. But yes, there's a greater awareness, a greater articulation of the discipleship aspect, at least as I hear and as I listen around.
Yeah.